Hey everybody, it's Safi and Marco Dish Out on Movies, the only movie review show on YouTube to review movies in terms of food. It's just Marco here once again, and I am here today to review Leave It to Beaver Season 4. I know that this is a video everyone was excited about, wink wink, and I should start off by saying, I postponed doing this as much as possible because for some reason, watching Leave It to Beaver, I don't know, I guess it's just because there's so many episodes, but, I don't know, it's kind of anxiety inducing the way that it's it never ends. So it's you go through your life and at the same time you're going through this show. And so, anything can happen and in, a weird way. So, this season 4, we'll talk about it overall, but I'll just say this. It's really, really nice to watch a show with this many episodes. And to watch a show that feels like it cares. And feels like, even though there are some problems, it really feels like they tried. It feels like they wanted to entertain you. They didn't just rush things to an end. They didn't use having a little amount of episodes as an excuse to do controversial things or to do wild things and not have happy endings to certain things. And it just, I'm sick and tired of the way that modern TV shows are. They're all terrible. They're all bad. There's very few exceptions. And they all make the same mistakes because all of them have to follow this Breaking Bad pattern where they can't overstay their welcome and they have to be really short. And at least with Leave It to Beaver, if you take away the anxiety thing of watching 40 episodes, that's over a month. That is over a month of watching an episode a day. It's insane to me. But if you take that away, Leave It to Beaver is a great show. I feel like I'm one of the few Leave It to Beaver fanatics on YouTube. There's a lot of... I feel like everyone knows Leave It to Beaver. They know Beaver, they know Wally, they know June, Ward... They know the name Ward because of Leave It to Beaver. But they don't really know the show. They don't really know the episodes. I feel like I'm the one guy who does, in Pleasantville, the fucking Tobey Maguire character who wants to enter that trivia contest and shit. I feel like that's what I could do, but with Leave It to Beaver almost. In terms of, just in comparison to everyone else on the planet Earth. I feel like the only other Leave It to Beaver fan who knows their stuff is probably in their 80s. Safi doesn't know. She doesn't want to watch the show. I offer her, I'll say okay, Safi, you want to watch that? You want to watch that? No. That's what she'll say. So, anyways, the worst episode of the season was 39, the number 39, not the episode. And that is Teacher's Daughter. I give it a D-. This episode was really good and funny until Wally is forced to break up with his girlfriend because of his dad. I really did not like that at all. However, this episode did have 4 genuine laugh-out-loud moments. Really unfortunate they had to mess up this relationship storyline. The highlight is the interaction between the teacher and Wally. It would have been such a great idea to continue this relationship dynamic throughout the series, and I honestly, genuinely believe that, they were a perfect couple, and the relationship he had with the dad, with the teacher, was really, really interesting. And if you had continued that and just had it be a background thing, it would have been so much better to me than Mary Ellen Rodgers. Ugh, Mary Ellen Rodgers. I'm not a fan of Mary Ellen Rodgers. Okay? Are there any fans of Mary Ellen? Like, are there any, like, people who think that, like, she's the greatest thing ever? That's what I thought. So number 38 is Beaver's old buddy. This is one of my least favorite episodes of the series. It makes no sense that suddenly Beaver's old friend and him can't play together or have fun together. I had my 18th birthday party with a guy I didn't hang out with since the first grade. We had a ton of fun together. This is a depressing and stupid episode. And it's stupid because, like, I'll just say this too, like, I had a friend from high school, from freshman year of high school, and I just hung out with him yesterday, and we're going to go to the gym tomorrow together, and he's helping me shoot my movie at his place. So, like, this whole thing, it's basically like a statement, like, if you had a friend as a kid, it's a sign that you're growing up that you two don't like each other anymore, and it's just like, that's just fucking retarded. Like, it just, I hate this episode. I really wish I could put it below Teacher's Daughter, but Teacher's Daughter is just really sick the way they contrived that way to break up the parents forcing Wally to break up with that girl. It's like, fuck you. Number 37 is Wally the Lifeguard. I give it a D. This isn't necessarily a bad episode, but it's one that makes you scratch your head. Like, this whole story is a nothing burger. The lesson of the episode is dumb, and the jokes are lame. Number 36 is Kite Day, and I give it a D for dumb. It was so boring that I zoned out. Number 35 is Ward's Millions. I give it a D+. This is a D for dumb episode as well. It's dumb and gimmicky with a dumb conflict. Beaver is climbing a tree to hide from his parents even though he hasn't done that since season 1. The only thing I liked about this episode was that there was a good focus between Ward and Beaver, which is a rarity. I wish it was better written. Number 34 is Beaver's Bat. I give it a C-. Beaver's Rat, sorry. This is a pet episode with an extra gimmick, playing hot potato with it. The message is stupid and makes Ward look like a dipshit. Why wouldn't Beaver take advantage of demand by asking for more money when someone wants to buy it back after they sold it back to him? Like, it's just, especially at the end when Fred comes back to beg for the rat back. It was Fred who was in the error there, and $5 wasn't highway robbery. Like, I do think that, like, ripping people off is not good. Taking advantage of people is not good. But to use this instance as the lesson of that is just stupid to me. It feels like they could have written it differently if they wanted to teach that lesson. Number 33 is Wally's Dream Girl. I give it a C-. I wasn't a fan of this episode. It was a good concept, but badly executed. I wouldn't want to talk to a girl in front of my parents. It's creepy and queer. Plus, they wasted a really pretty girl. She's definitely a wasted potential movie star. I wonder why she stopped acting. And yeah, like, there's this part in the episode where he's really nervous about talking to her, but they're sitting in the back seat and their parents and Beaver are in the front seat. Why would you want to talk to a girl in front of your parents? Like, that is so weird. And it's so alien to me. It feels like, even in the 50s and 60s, that couldn't have been the protocol. Like, no man would court a woman in front of his parents. Right? Number 32 is Beaver's tonsils. I give it a C+. This is another episode that feels like it should have been done seasons ago. It's an okay episode. It had a couple laughs. Number 31 is Beaver's house guest. This episode is like the first one Oh, okay. Sorry, I was confused there. And that the first half is bad and the second half is good. The premise is bizarre. Beaver wanting his parents to get divorced because his friend Chopper put a happy facade on feels like another plot that would work only if he was 8 years old. The funniest part is when Ward has arrived home and says he talked Chopper's mom into realizing that she and her ex-husband are hurting the boy. LOL. With that. It's so bad and such a cop-out, and the fact that it's done off-camera makes it worse. Number 30 is Beaver Becomes a Hero. I give it a C+. This episode is meh. It's nice that Beaver isn't really at fault. It's nice how everything turns out. And it has a good message. However, it still feels like they're struggling to come up with interesting stories now that he is getting older. Yeah. That was like one of the main issues with the season. Number 29, Beaver and Kenneth. This is a meh episode. The character of Kenneth is only in this one episode. He could have become a version of Eddie. He could have been a reoccurring character. Miss Landers was a highlight of this episode. Oh yeah, I remember that one. So yeah, I think that I think this is the episode where like Kenneth is like stealing shit and then he blames it on Beaver. And it really felt like that could have been the new Eddie. I'm talking to my friend about an encounter I had today. I will be making a video about that too. I met this Karen at the Cheesecake Factory while I was doing door dashing, and that's all I'll say. Okay. 28. Beaver Goes in Business. C+. I'm giving this episode C for cringeworthy. Every single thing that happens goes wrong. Gilbert isn't becoming any more likable, and I don't know what the lesson of this episode is. Going into business is hard? Shit happens? Several plot lines happen in the episode and none of them feel connected. Also, Beaver mentions that he had a paper route before. Gilbert jokes that he can just ask his dad to deliver papers in the car for him. I don't know why Beaver didn't tell Gilbert how his father did that too, and it didn't work out very well. Number 27, The Big Fish Count. C+. This is a predictable but fun episode, but it's kind of forgettable. 26, Mother's Helper. B-. This is a pretty good episode, except June ruins it. It's also very funny. If it wasn't for her, this episode would be higher. So what happens in this episode is that the Cleavers have this old woman come over to help out around the house. And then the old woman can't do it for a while, so her daughter comes over. And Wally gets the hots for her. And he ends up actually doing most of the work for her. And it's really funny and fun and cute. But then this is another episode where like June forces Ward to make Wally break up with her. Like, what is the deal with that? Like, is this like good parenting to force your child to break up with their girlfriend or boyfriend? Like, it's really, really shitty and awful. Number 25 is Mistaken Identity. B-. This is a pretty good, albeit simplistic episode. It also makes Richard the most unlikable character so far in the series. I do like, however, that Beaver isn't at fault. Those episodes are a treat since they're few and far between. 24 is Beaver's Secret Life, B-. This episode redeems itself with its unexpected and funny twist at the end. The rest of it is filled with bad parenting and unnatural behavior, such as Beaver not getting upset about his parents reading his personal diary, and June's mother proves herself to be a trash character once again. But Beaver writing fake things in his diary because he wants to be a writer totally makes up for it. I mean, that was such a great twist, and so unexpected too. 23 is Beaver's IQ, B-. This episode is reminiscent of the Opie Flunks arithmetic episode in the Andy Griffith Show. It's a little bit better though, but still very stupid. Beaver Cleaver has a high IQ? What's up with that? On the other hand, it is a good story for Beaver's age. Number 22, Beaver's Big Contest, B. This episode has a lot of empty space in it. I mean, there's large sections of the episode with Ward and June fooling around. Kind of fun, but shows this didn't have much of a plot. I did like the message, though, and the outcome. And the ad for his prize car Beaver wrote was really funny. Sorry, guys, I've been having anxiety recently with doing videos for some reason. I don't know what it is. It's really weird, like, because it doesn't happen, like, if I'm talking, like, just talking in person or whatever. It only happens doing videos, and it only happens when I'm recording. It's hard to explain, too. It's very strange. I get, like, these little mini anxiety attacks when I'm recording. I think it's just because it, like, the anxiety of, like, I can't have any, like, empty space in the recording. You know, like, I have to continue talking until the video is over. Whereas if Safi was here, she could, you know, help me break things up and recover. Number 21 is School Picture. I give it a B. This is a meh episode. It's a predictable story, and there isn't much to be learned. The best part is hilariously the subplot about Wally trying to contact Eddie on a crappy walkie-talkie he gave him. Number 20 is Beaver's Frogs. I give it a B. This is another predictable episode, but it was still fun and harmless. Number 19 is Community Chest. I give it a B. This is a frustrating episode. The moral of the story is confusing. Ward is proven wrong multiple times. I loved how we got to see interactions between Beaver and Gilbert and random strangers. It's so much fun to see new and unique characters on the show, even if it's only temporary. My favorite part was when Beaver went around asking people how much they donated, only for them to give him more money. It was nice to see the other adults be more understanding than Beaver's own parents, and it was interesting how they all went against Ward. In a way, it feels like a better version of the classic episodes where Beaver loses something. You know, there's a lot of episodes like that, and it's like, oh, it's Beaver's fault, he's a bad kid, he's got to learn a lesson. And in this episode, it's like, no, everyone loses things. And so I love that. Number 18 is Junior Fire Chief. I give it a B. This episode has a good message, but wasn't executed right. We don't actually get to see Beaver mad with power for very long. Most of the episode was focused on the election, and not him being mad with power. I also loved how Gus the fireman taught Beaver the lesson instead of his father. Very unique. Number 17 is Beaver's report card. I give it a B. This is a very funny episode. It's also funny seeing Ward scold Eddie, even though it's only over the phone. Number 16 is Miss Lander's Fiancé. I give it a B. This was a decent episode with plenty of great moments, but kind of sudden. Like, Beaver has never shown this much interest in Miss Landers until this episode. I liked it a lot, though. Yeah, not really. Number 15, Beaver's Doll Buggy. A-. This episode gets an A- for Eddie's character development. It was nice seeing him reveal another side of himself. This was also a pretty funny episode, but kind of silly. Everything could have been explained either way. What? I'm totally confused at what I wrote there. It doesn't make any sense at all. Everything could have been explained away. I think that's what I should have said. Number 14 is the Dramatic Club. I give it an A-. This is a fun and classic episode. I loved how Beaver had to face his fear and overcome his issue. He couldn't just cry his way out of it. Number 13, Beaver Won't Eat. A-. This episode is stupid because it feels like a plot for when Beaver was younger, and they're still treating him like he's the little Beaver he was in Season 1. It's also stupid because of June. Forcing Beaver to eat the sprouts is ridiculous. But the episode turns around and becomes really funny in the second half. Number 12, Wally's Glamour Girl. A. This is a solid Wally episode. It's a great story and pretty funny, but also kind of predictable. I didn't like how the parents looked through their son's trash. It seemed like a cheap way for them to discover the truth. But overall, this was a pretty good episode. Number 11 is Eddie's Double Cross. A. This is a classic episode. Not really that funny, but it's one of the best Eddie-centric episodes. Once again, you really feel sorry for him. Number 10, Beaver's Freckles. A. This episode was near perfect. Very funny, great message. Loved Beaver talking to a former bully, and they agreed about something. Also, very good subject matter for Beaver's age. The only flaws are the weird 1950s etiquette rules. Don't wash your hands in the kitchen sink, don't use a dish towel to clean your hands, and don't drink from a pitcher. Number 9 is Substitute Father. I give it an A. This is a heartwarming episode where Wally steps up as the father of the family. The conflict is what brings this episode down. Beaver says a swear word to a bully. This is treated like he committed a war crime. It's so bizarrely funny and dumb. Wally is the star of this episode. This also works as a decent finale to the season, surprisingly. So this is in the top 10 of the season, and I think that's a good thing for a finale. Number 8 is In the Soup. Honestly, this is an okay episode. I don't know why I ranked it so high. I guess it's just because it's iconic and because maybe when I first saw it, I thought it was really funny, but it's just kind of a dumb episode. It feels like something that would have only happened to him when he was younger, and I thought it was actually done better in the movie. Number 7 is Uncle Billy. I give it an A. Surprisingly, this was a fantastic episode. It was funny and had a great message, and I thought that Uncle Billy was really good. The only flaw was how predictable it was. Somehow, it's still amazing. Number 6, Beaver's Accordion. A+. This is a classic episode and very, very funny. It has everything you could want in a perfect Leave It to Beaver episode. It's so goofy, too. My favorite part is when June hears about the accordion, and she's like, "What the fuck? That's the silliest thing I've ever heard." Only Beaver Cleaver would want one of those. Number 5 is Beaver's poster, A+. This was a surprising episode, and I loved it. It had a great message. It had great twists. I think it's a classic. Number 4 is Wally and Dudley. This is definitely a classic episode. I even remembered how things turned out. My favorite part is at the end when Beaver says he hopes there's more people like Dudley than Eddie. Someone in the live studio audience groaned, sadly, like he really felt bad for Eddie. Yeah, I remember that, actually. That was pretty weird. That's one of the cool things about, like, studio audiences is hearing those reactions. You know, nowadays, a lot of people watch, like, YouTube videos where you hear the movie theater reactions to a movie, and I feel like there's something fun about that. There's something, like, even if the movie's bad or the episode's bad, like, you get these genuine reactions out of people, and it's really interesting how they react. Number 3 is Chucky's New Shoes, A+. This is a hilarious and unexpected episode. It felt like nonstop jokes with such a great plot for Beaver's age, and Chucky was a great new character in my opinion. In terms of being funny, not in terms of, like, I don't like him as a character. Number 2 is Wally's Track Meet, A+. This is a classic golden episode. You got great moments with Wally, Larry, and Eddie. I love how Beaver schooled Larry. Even if the plot is very predictable and simple, the way it's executed is perfect. Number 1 is Eddie Spends the Night, A+. The writers of this season really knew how to use Eddie, and they knew he was their secret weapon. They used him as much as they could. Very effective. I love the story too. Once again, it makes you feel for Eddie, and I've said that quite a few times. It reminded me of the time in June when I was forced to be home alone for a week or so. What happened was this bitch whom I worked with, she was supposed to show up to film, and she decided not to. She gave me this bullshit excuse where she had borderline personality disorder, so she was trying to manipulate me into basically letting her take over the movie, and basically, like, I wasn't acting how she wanted me to act in terms of, like, I wasn't within her parameters. So she used that as kind of like an excuse, even though, like, I wouldn't have had any problem filming with her, like, and she wouldn't have either. But then it turned out that she just wanted to go to New York to look at pictures of herself in Times Square. And so saying that stuff to me, it was just an excuse. And it's funny because she didn't even realize that I was just going to be home alone. And it was just a nightmare. It was the worst experience ever. And it was like character building, though. It was like hell. It was like literal hell. And it totally reminded me of this episode. I loved how savage Ward was in this episode, too. He said stuff like, "Wouldn't you want to pawn your child off if you had a son like Eddie?" So, yeah. The food grade for the season is turkey tetrazzini. What seems like a bad situation is saved by taking leftover Thanksgiving turkey and turning it into a delicious and great meal. So, overall, with Season 4, Larry is gone, Judy is gone, but yet, this season is pretty good. Why is that? Because I felt like a lot of the episodes subverted expectations of what you would have expected to happen in earlier episodes and earlier seasons. And also, I felt like they really tried to use Eddie as much as they could because they knew he was the fan favorite. So I think that they did a good job with season 4, surprisingly. So yeah, you guys can tell I'm anxious. I'm not going to lie. Please like this video and comment. Tell me what you thought of season 4. And then please subscribe to our channel if you'd like to see more honest reviews. Goodbye, everybody. See you soon for season 5. Oh, God. 39 more episodes. Oh.